Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cabela's, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, Hoyman Tree Saws, Muddy Outdoors, and Realtree.
Well, it's Monday, November 6th. This is the morning we've been waiting for. The conditions are perfect. We've got a crisp, cold, high-pressure morning. Temperatures mid-20s. We got a northeast wind between 7 and 10 miles per hour. And the deer are on their feet. We've already seen a couple bucks and a couple does. A nice 3-year-old 10 came cruising by. And we had a little 1.5-year-old nudging a doe. I'm set up not too far from that food plot we've been hunting. It's just about 100 yards, maybe 200 yards to the north here. I'm getting pictures of TD Jr. in 66. This field here is a 12-acre cornfield. There's a 5.5-year-old buck named Steve-O that I've got 3 years of history with that comes out in this corner all the time. He was here just a couple days ago at 8:30 in the morning. To our east is a really thick bedding area, and the deer also cross this little narrow area in the cornfield and come down in the timber here behind us going back to bed. So I'm trying something a little different for this day and this morning. I'm just blowing the wind in the morning into the corn, and so far it's worked all right. I think with the right buck I can get him in range and get a shot. As long as the other deer don't spook, we'll do okay. Well, it's about 10 o'clock here and we're going to wrap up the hunt. It started out pretty hot that first hour. We ended up seeing 4 bucks. I think 2 of them were 4.5. One of them for sure I know got 3 years of history with him. nice 3.5-year-old, couple 1.5s, and then it really died down. So one of the problems with the hunt is the wind is supposed to be northeast, blowing this direction into the corn, and most of the morning it's actually blowing northwest. And I think had a shooter buck come out, I still probably could have shot him, but it's always disappointing when the wind doesn't do what you want it to do. Every one of those deer started working and got our wind and ran out of there, so hate doing that. But overall it's a good sit. I was expecting a little more cruising. It's been dead for the last 2 hours. I had one little 2.5-year-old come in about 30 minutes ago when I rattled, but that's been it. So I think I'm going to make the switch back to the new farm and see what's running over there tonight. We've been encountering some mature bucks that we have pictures of over there. You know, just running around the day in the middle of the day when we're checking cameras or going in. So, and we've had some good encounters on stands. I think I'm just going to move over there. There's better visibility and just try something different. So we'll get packed up and head that way. It's the afternoon of November 6th, and Jared and I have been settled in for about 20 minutes or so. It's a little after 3 o'clock. We're out on this new property that we bought, as I mentioned earlier. It's our third official hunt. Today we decided to come in this little piece of timber across the river, and we walked all the way along the riverbank and popped up. We're just 10 yards from the edge of the river, and we have our wind blowing back down the river. This is just a piece of bottom ground, a lot of that marsh grass and maple trees, and we're butted up against this really giant WRP ground. So we're assuming we're going to see some cruising bucks down the edge of the riverbank. Hoping so anyway. This is also a really good setup for calling because the deer can't really get downwind of us. So we're just going to sit back, enjoy the evening, and probably do a little calling as we go. As far as bucks that are in this area, we got permission from the previous landowner when we signed the purchase agreement to run cameras out here, and so we do know a little bit about what's out here. We got a bunch of 4-year-olds and a couple big management bucks that are clearly 5+. And since I've still got 2 tags, I'm happily going to shoot one of those deer. And Jared came to check this camera yesterday, and saw one of those big 8s right here. So he actually crossed the river after dark and was on camera that we checked after the hunt last night. So they move across the river like it's nothing. But you know, there's a couple of those deer. There's, I'm sure, lots of unknown deer. So we're just going to sit back and enjoy November 6th. It's high pressure and cold. It's in the 40s, and beautiful day for hunting. Yeah. It's about 10 after 5. So we have maybe 15 minutes of legal shooting. We're running out of camera light here, so we're going to wrap up the hunt. Overall, probably pretty slow for November 6th with great weather conditions. We saw one chase early, a young buck chasing a doe, and we had a young 2-year-old buck come under us, a couple other 1.5s. So not that much as far as good activity or mature bucks, but we're going to leave our stuff in the tree and come back here in the morning, and I imagine that a lot of these deer here will come back in bed, and hopefully we'll get some cruising bucks that first couple hours of the day. So we're going to get packed up and get going, and look forward to the morning hunt on November 7th.